the Good, the Bad, and the Ponies. Chapter 1. The station was busy. Busier than usual. Hayseed kept on chattering obvious to the chaos around him, but Applejack's eyes flickered back and forth attentively. There were lots of passengers milling around, but it was the weekly 10 a.m. westbound express, and those ponies interested in traveling far had to catch the train today. That meant business ponies heading to Las Pegasus, ragged-looking miners out to seek their fortune in the rocky spurs, and the farm ponies with their families moving west to the open lands on the frontier. It made for a large crowd, but a crowd this size wasn't abnormal. The lawmen, however, stuck out. The entire station was swarming with ponies bearing silver stars pinned to their vests. Applejack's sharp eyes made out the insignia. Feds, not local boys. Something big was happening, and it had to do with the crate being loaded onto a rear storage car. A whole posse of Brownie officers watched over the nondescript box with their leader, embroiled in the heated debate with the purple unicorn. Applejack couldn't help but peer curiously until she heard the buzzing of Hayseed's voice drop off. She turned back to him with an easy smile. "Well, cousin, that's probably it," he said. "I sure do wish you could have stayed longer. Next time you plan on getting into town, give me another holler first, and we'll be more ready for you." "Ah, shucks!" Applejack reached over and grabbed him in a loose hug. "Y'all know I don't expect much. Putting me in with the chickens is just fine. Knowing how harvest season gets. Tell the other apples we all miss 'em. It's been, what, years and years since we've seen hide of hair of any of y'all. We was beginning to think something had happened." Applejack pulled back and closed her eyes as she tipped the hat. "Will do," she said. She glanced back towards the city. It wasn't much of a city, and the Seeds were one of the many farming families living in the surrounding country. But it was far more than she was comfortable with. Her smile was easy and genuine as she looked at the train. "But I reckon I should be on my way." For a moment, Applejack thought she saw a tear in Hayseed's eyes. But he pulled her in for a tight hug. She had to gently push back to get him to let go, and even then he kept waving enthusiastically as the crowd hustled and bustled around him. She nodded back and turned to walk off towards the passenger car. This many ponies around meant it took some effort, but she smoothly threaded her way through ponies rushing back and forth. She had almost made it to the ticket taker when a big sheriff deputy barged through, knocking her back into a scrawny Pegasus, sending them both sprawling. Applejack hopped up to her hooves, embraced and taking a tumble, and offered a hoof to the pony, who was covered head to toe in coal dust that stained her coat at grimy gray. The mare looked back at her with a glare that could have peeled paint off of a barn, and used her wings to lift herself up, ignoring the proffered help. "Watch where you're going, Mudhoof," she spat in a raspy voice, and then before Applejack could fire back, the Pegasus was gone, slipping off into the crowd. Applejack frowned. Some ponies wouldn't know civility if it bucked them in the face. She straightened up her vest and recentered the rucksack on her back, smiling at the comforting weight between her shoulders. No sense sweating the small stuff. There was plenty of big stuff to worry about. The fire. Transition. The fire was important, even in the morning. The fire was a symbol of something. Life, maybe, or consuming hunger, maybe. Maybe anger? Anger that at times faded to embers and other times flared up in an inferno, but always burnt. Yes, anger. Fluttershy thought that was appropriate. She didn't move or speak as she stared into the fire, waiting for the drums to stop beating and the elders to speak. Devil's talons dug into her shoulder, but it was a good pain, and she bore the weight of the hawk with no complaint. The grizzled buffalo resting on the the dais overlooking the fire, slowly shuffled to his hooves, gazing down with rheumy eyes at Fluttershy. She met his stare, giving no ground. "Enough," he said, as the drumming ceased, leaving a silence interrupted only by the sound of the wind. Fluttershy's face was stony in looking up to the chief. His head dipped once, interrogatively. "Pony, you have done much to our tribe. Your debt to us is more than repaid in spirit and blood. I must ask again, why do you fight for us?" Fluttershy did not answer. She gazed upwards, unblinking, as the moment drew out longer. "Very well." Oh, goddammit. "Very well," the chief said. He raised a hoof upwards, and a pair of young buffalo took up position next to Fluttershy. The chief turned slowly to look out at the horizon. "There's more task we ask of you, not as master to debater, but as tribe to brave." His voice dwindled away in a gusty sigh before picking back up. "The ponies have taken much from us, our land, our sons and daughters, even our very way of life. But we are going to take back what is ours." He raised a hoof and pointed off in the distance, where sunlight glinted off of the ribbon of metal tracks that cut through the scrubby desert. "The ponies